What is up, guys? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today I have an awesome video for you guys. It is something that I've been really wanting to get out to you for a long time. It is basically just a complete rundown of a bait casting reel. One of my absolute favorite parts of bass fishing is just whipping around these bait casting reels all day long. And I want to show you exactly how to dial in your bait caster and just set it up perfectly so you're not getting very many backlashes, but you're also able to cast the distance that you want to cast and also the accuracy that you want. So basically, I'm going to start off by just sharing exactly what the functions are on the reel, and then we're gonna kind of dive into how I like to tune my reels right off the get-go, like right as if you were to buy your first bait caster type thing. So first off, I'm going to show you exactly, there's actually four different functions on a bait caster if you get a higher end bait caster. And what I mean by that is there's a dual braking system, which it's a little bit more, a little bit more intricate, a little bit more advanced, I guess you could say. But typically there's 4 to, I'd say maybe 8 brakes that'll go inside of the reel. And then you've also got, so when you put that cap back on, this is typical on just about every bait caster. This is like their centrifugal brake system, I believe they call it. It's typically 10 to 20 brakes. They're usually spaced off. So like this is 0, and that's 10. And then you can go by 0.5. So like, actually we'll start it off. So I always want every single person to start off with their maximum amount of brakes. And if you have this dual braking system, open up your side panel just like this and make sure that all of these are on. So when they're down like that, that means that it's off. You want to push them up, make sure every single one is on. Typically there's a sign or like a little writing that'll share that which way is on, which way is off. But I'm trying to get this. All right, so the last one, all 6 are up, as you can see. And then all 10 brakes are activated on this side panel. And then this is what I call the fine-tune knob. There's probably a different term for it. I probably should have looked that up before doing this video, but it doesn't really matter. It just matters it just really matters knowing what these different functions do. So this one is super important right off the bat. Before you even cast, you want to make sure you have this one set up. So the way that you set that up is you actually, well, before we do that, this is also the drag. This is the fourth thing that a bait caster will have on it that might confuse people. But the only thing that this does is doesn't affect casting or anything at all. This just is for when you're fighting a fish and you need to basically have resistance so that you don't break the line. It's just like any other type of reel. So like this is way too loose of a drag. So what I'm gonna do is tighten the drag. Pull it now. So this is when the bail isn't open. So that's pretty loose still. Typically I like my drag kind of tight, especially for braid. So that's pretty good, I'd say, for this video. That's perfect. All right, so once you get that set up, that's all you got to do. You don't have to do anything special. And then these are going to be what's a little bit more special, and you need to be a little bit more mindful when setting these up. And I'm going to explain how to set up this fine-tune knob right now. When you're getting this fine-tune knob situated, you want to get your reel or your lure all the way up towards the rod tip, just like so. I got a leader on, that's why I'm not reeling it all the way up. And then you want to push down on that free spool button and just let it drop. And typically, so that's exactly perfect. But I'm going to tighten it just to show you guys what it's like. Typically when you buy a reel, it's going to be all the way tight or sometimes super loose. But if it's all the way tight, it's going to drop super slow like that. And that's kind of what you want when you're first starting off. You don't want it to be too tight to the point where it's not going anywhere like this. Like this is a free spool, it's not even moving. You know, it's really too tight when it's like that. But as soon as you start loosening this knob, it starts to drop faster. And the way that you want it is a nice, subtle, smooth drop. And if you're just getting started, this is a really good way for you to kind of practice, get a feel for what it's like pushing down on the free spool button and just basically having the line run through your thumb. That's a really good way to get used to what it's like when you're casting and having that line basically just run past your thumb all day long. Now that we got this fine-tune knob all set up, that is perfect. Now we're going to basically work on this brake system here and then the inside. And like I said, you always want all of your brakes locked up right when you're starting off on this process. All right, so now remember, we got this fine tune knob situated, so the drop, as you can see, is perfect. I'll loosen it a little bit more. So the drop is perfect. Now we're just basically making sure that the centrifugal brake system and the dual braking system are set up and tuned in so that we're casting as far as we want to. All right, so now I'm gonna take the cast. Look at that. Barely anywhere. Halfway across the river. Honest to Pete, if you're just starting out and that's like, you're happy with that, be cool with that. Run all your brakes on and just basically get used to what it's like doing the casting motion. I'm not even putting my thumb on the reel during the cast because the brakes are doing all of the work for me. It's making me basically, you know, put a lot into the cast to get it even where it's going, which is only halfway across the river, but it is still, it's perfect. You know, if you're just getting started, it's way better than pulling out a backlash all day long. And trust me, we all do it, especially when we're getting started. But now, since I'm a little bit more advanced, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and dial this cast in to being exactly how far I know I can cast, and then also so that I can be as accurate as I need to be. And the way that you do that is just by basically shuffling down these brakes. So I know that this dual braking system is gonna be super, super tight, so I'm just gonna swing this brake from 10 to 0, all the way to 0. So I'm basically eliminating all these brakes right in here, except for that dual braking system inside the reel. Now I'm gonna take the same cast. I'd say it's an extra 10 feet, which is solid. You know, like especially if you're just getting started, that is perfect. You know, that's all you need to get, or that's as far as you need to cast to catch tons of fish. Especially bass fishing, it's more or less like being able to kind of hit targets that are within 10 to 20 yards. You don't need to cast 30, 40 yards. But you can bomb cast 30 yards. And I'm gonna teach you exactly how to right now. So just like I said, if you don't have that dual braking system on your reel, typically you're just gonna be playing around with this 10 to 0 range. You know, you're just gonna shuffle around. Sometimes like that 2 to 3 is perfect for a half-ounce bait. That's typically what I would recommend. But if you've got that dual braking system, this is the point where we're gonna open up that side panel and take a look in here and basically just unswitch a couple brakes and yeah, see how far we can cast after doing that. All right, so since all 6 are up, what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna knock down 2 first, just for video's sake. I know exactly what would be perfect for this bait, but for now, I am just gonna go with these 2. And you always, so instead of doing like 2 like that, you always kind of want to stay even with it. So like this one I turned off, so the one across from it, I'm gonna turn off. And that way it stays balanced. That's a better word for it. So keep everything balanced. Say if I wanted to do 4 brakes off, which is probably what we're gonna end up doing, you wanna make sure that you knock out 2 of those like that. But I'm gonna take off those 2. All right, bet. Now we're ready to cast. Oh, are you still recording? Perfect. All right, so we got it at 0. Remember what I said earlier? You always want to bring this brake back to 10 after you switch around any of the dual braking systems inside the reel. So now we're gonna take our cast. This is set up, the drag's set up, everything's set up. Now we're just basically looking for that sweet spot, that sweet amount of brakes so that we can basically just cast across the river and cast wherever we need to. All right, so we're gonna take our first cast. Like I said, we got these 10 brakes down. And those 2 down on the inside. So that's about the same distance, maybe a little bit farther than the last one that we did with all of those dual braking systems down and all the 10 down. Or all the dual braking system brakes up, I'm sorry, and then all of the side panel brakes down. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna bring it from 10 on the side panel all the way down to 0. And we're gonna see if this is gonna be a little bit farther around the area that we know we can be casting at. Which I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty far, and I didn't need much effort with my thumb, which a lot of guys like to not thumb the spool at all while they're casting, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to pay attention to the style of fishing that you like to do. If you really, really like just kind of going out there whipping around the baitcaster and not thumbing it much, just stick with something like this, you know, 2 brakes down, On this reel, every reel is a little bit different, but basically just dial it in so that you can cast it as far as I just casted, or wherever your sweet spot is. And yeah, just make sure that you don't have to do too much work. But I like to do the work. I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of those weirdos that could basically run this spool with 0 brakes on it and just thumb the whole time. There are some situations where that's like not ideal, and it bites me in the ass sometimes, but I will say it is awesome for my style of fishing. And for those of you that are like me, I'm going to show you exactly how I dial in my reels to get them to basically be able to cast well over 30 yards, I'd say. I'm not going to say anything over that just because I don't know. I've never put a measurement on how far I can cast, but I mean, that's probably 20 to 30 yards across the way, and I'm definitely certain we can get this reel dialed in so we're casting across. Alright guys, so we are going to open up this side panel again for those of you that want to cast a little bit farther. So we've got these 4 on, and we want to turn 2 of them off. And you could turn off 1 at a time, but I think 2 is going to be perfect, especially if you want to cast across the river. But you see how this is at 0? Nuh-uh-uh. You do not. That's how you have a mistake. When you mess around those big gears in there, you want to be super careful. That's when you really start putting yourself at risk of casting off a lure, or just casting way too far into trees, or just really having a bad backlash that you don't want to deal with. So bring that back to 10, and then we're going to take another cast, and it's probably going to launch. I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to kind of be mindful of that and be ready, but we're going to cast across this way and see if we can't hit the rocks on the other side here. All right, back guys, so we're about to make that cast. I'd say I was about 6 feet away from the shoreline. So that is, and I didn't even have to thumb it that hard. So that's a sign that basically the lure is launching at the perfect rate for this spool not to go out of control or anything like that. And it's allowing it to basically cast perfectly fine, as long as you're stopping it at the end of the cast while the lure hits the water. That's a super important point that I probably should have put in this video a little bit earlier, but it is all good. That's just something that's kind of common sense. Whenever your lure is stopped, you have to stop it with your thumb, to stop the spool, that is. But now I'm going to switch this from 10 all the way to about 5. So you guys can basically imagine in your head, that's like half of the brakes that I had on just now going away on this side panel. So now I'm going to take that cast and look at that. I didn't thumb it enough, and actually I didn't get a backlash, so that's good. I almost got a backlash, but if I didn't have that backlash, I probably would have gotten it in that tree across the way. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to back up that brake just a little bit on the side panel. So I'm going to drop it to like maybe 6 or 7, and that's probably going to be perfect. So I'm going to do that real quick. Drop that down to about 6.5, so not 6 or 7, right in the middle. And then now we're going to try and take that same cast right across the way, right up those rocks. And honestly, you can just leave it over there, because I'm going to try and hit that other side of the shoreline, all right? So keep it zoomed in right there, and I'm going to make it over there. Check that out. I literally stopped it to just make sure that I didn't get it in the rocks, but that is so dialed in to the point where you can make a cast 10 yards exactly where you want it. Like here, I'll make my point clear. So you can probably see right at the end of that shadow. Here, babe. Right here. See that? Mm-hmm. So keep it zoomed in right there. So that's about 10 yards. Boom. Every time. If I want to go a little bit farther, let's look for a different target. Here, babe, look at my finger. See over there? That's about 20 yards where we were standing over there on that rock point. See it? I'm going to cast right over there. Boom. See that? That is exactly how dialed in you want to get your bait caster. Now I'm going to go across again. We'll hit. You see that tree that's changing colors over there? Right, like right underneath that power line? Let's send it right over there. So that's about a 25, 30 yard cast, at least I'd say. And that's basically right on the button. Like you can basically hit, once you really dial in your bait casters, and once you have a bunch of years of experience under your belt, you can really cast anywhere you want to, just about. Especially if you're a shore fisherman, And even, my gosh, anybody. Like, I think this video could help so many people. Just understanding exactly what your baitcaster can do can just go so much farther than just knowing how to cast a baitcaster. So I hope this video really helps a lot of people. And if I missed anything, actually, I really want to reiterate on this point. Make sure that whenever your lure hits the water and stops, that you stop that spool with your thumb. That is a super important point. And yeah, hope you guys keep catching fish out there. And see you guys next video. Peace out.
Alright guys, so this last part of the video is totally optional, obviously.
So, first thing we're going to do,
but this is just me teaching a kid named Lawson how to use a baitcaster. I teach him exactly what I just described in the last 15 minutes of the video, and I put it into an exact teaching of how to start from nothing, no knowledge, to learning exactly how to cast perfectly fine, and actually even catching a fish. So stick around if you want to see this. It might help you.
So you adjust this dial in order to do that. All right. So now that that's set up, then what you do, since I've got a nice reel, if your first reel might not have this on it, and you would just have these 10 brakes, but I've got more brakes inside of here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn all of these brakes on for you, so that it's gonna not go out of the wheelhouse and go crazy. Yeah, so like what I was telling your buddy, what was his name? Anthony. So before you even start casting, the best thing to do when you first start learning is to just have your rod tip kind of up like this, and just get used to pushing down on that button there and just letting that lure drop to the bottom. Does that make sense? So like I'll show you the first time. So put your thumb right up there and then push up down on this button, but hold it with your thumb. There you go. And then gently let it fall down. Just like that. All right, now you can start cranking and bring it all the way back up to the rod tip. And then do that again. Yep, and push down on the button. And then let it slowly drop. And then reel it all the way up. And then keep doing that. Drop it again. See how that's similar to like when you're casting it, how it's gonna feel when the line is going through your thumb?
It feels good.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, keep trying. A couple more times. Good job. All right, one more.
This one's gonna go slow down.
Good job, good job. That nice steady drop is exactly what you want. All right, now you're ready to cast, I think.
I'm not gonna cast it yet. I'm just gonna drop it in the water.
Okay.
Oh, there's my weight. I want to see the movement. Wow. I saw one of these, like these big ones at Dick's too.
Yeah, I really like those.
That was not that great. It didn't hit the water. I don't know.
And you really want to get used to stopping it right when that lure hits the water, because otherwise it'll just kind of keep, the spool just keep spinning.
Yeah.
Get this chap.
Last one.
You think you're ready for a cast?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Hold that. Hold the line. Trying to do it when those weeds are.
You want me to give you a little rundown on how to kind of do it a little?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of simple. It's just like doing a spin cast. So like you're gonna kind of just go straight back. Yeah, just like a push button.
But you don't hold the line.
And you see how like I got a lot of line there, like almost like 12 inches on the end. So you kind of want that so that the rod bends. Like look at the bend in the rod when I go back and forth. See that? And that, and what that's gonna allow you to do is it's just gonna launch that lure forward. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so just like that. And then there it goes. And then you just lightly thumb it, just like you were doing it while it was dropping down. And then you stop it as soon as it hits the water.
And it comes right back to you.
Yeah. There you go, buddy.
Click the button.
Good job.
That was scary. I feel like I could go farther.
Yeah, no, 100%. Dude, that was good. That was a good first
Feels
cast.
like you have a fish.
It does kind of. It's got a lot of vibration. So maybe try putting your right hand down towards the bottom.
Yeah, I'm lefty. So.
Oh.
No, I'm righty.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah, I thought I was for a second.
And then put your thumb on it. Yep. So you see how you were kind of like lifting up your thumb? You kind of want your thumb to be on that line there. All right, but because of the brakes are all the way down, it's all good. You didn't get a backlash. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the other cool thing about baitcasters, so you see...
Everything's cool about baitcasters.
Oh my God, you're here first.
Oh,
I love it. So one of the cool things about, I think, that when I was younger, when I was your age, my dad was fishing with a baitcaster and I was using the button down. I always thought this was so cool, because whenever we would get a weed, which pretend I got a weed on there, we have to go like, you know, crawling up the rod, setting down the rod, doing all this.
Oh,
but with a
baitcaster,
with a baitcaster, all you got to do, push down on that button, thumb it.
Oh, that's so smart.
And then you just give yourself a bunch of room if you need to retie.
You can maybe do that with an open face.
Cut it right here. Yeah, and you can do it with an open face, just not as easy because you got to open up the bail and all that. Here you go, buddy. Keep going.
So I have to tell you a story about like getting seaweed off about Anthony.
Oh, he doesn't like it, huh?
He does not.
Does he slam his lure on the water?
Yeah, he goes around, slams,
Yeah.
and then when he was going around, and he was using a rubber bait, and he goes flying. It was so funny.
Yeah,
Look,
my buddy
I will
Drew.
flash you.
My buddy Drew used to be. He reminds me of Andrew or Anthony.
That was scary.
That was the farthest one. Yeah, that was good, dude. You think we can loosen up a few of the brakes? Or
Maybe
you think
after this one.
Yeah, all right.
What does that do, like to loosen up?
So you know how like it's not going crazy when you don't have your thumb on the spool?
Yeah.
If you were to make this dial go all the way to 0 or closer to 0 instead of on 10, there's going to be magnets that basically release, and it's going to make less pressure on the spool when this button's down, which is going to make it cast super far. So like, you know how I can cast super far? It's because I usually have like 0 brakes on my reels, and I set them up so that they're super
do that
loose.
with push buttons.
Right. Unfortunately, you can't, but that's the perk of using a baitcaster, especially, you know, when you get, you know, a little bit more used to them and stuff. You can just kind of get used to what your style is. A lot of guys like it so that they don't even have to put their thumb on the spool. I like it where you do thumb it.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then that way you can literally cast super far. You just got to be careful.
This one turns. I just noticed that.
Hey, dude, you're doing great, man.
Here's the thing I love about push buttons and every single rod. You could just put on your heaviest like bait. You won't need a weight.
Yep.
And then you just go across the lake.
100%.
Oh God.
Holy moly, look at all those ducks. Jeepers.
Yeah, that's the thing that I like. They scare the fish over here. That's what I think when they do that.
Well, cast it out there. Let's get one. Dude, you're doing such a good job stopping stopping that spool.
See, I'm kind of not doing it at the right time though.
You doing it a little too early or a little late?
I'm doing it like when it's right there.
If honestly, that's a little bit better than doing it a little late. Oop, you all right? It's a little bit better than doing it a little late, because then you might get a little bit of a backlash. But you're honestly doing really good.
No, I'm trying to do that thing.
Oh, yeah. Drop it a little farther. There you go.
That's the one thing that...
Dang, dude. You look like a champ doing that.
Is that all?
You look like a future
That's
Bassmaster champion. Yeah.
What's going on?
So that goes by 0.5, so that's 0.5, like 9.5.
It's hard.
There you go.
Got it.
Then that's 9.
So now I could cast a little bit farther.
Yep.
Oh, that was right on it.
That was awesome, dude. Nice, nice, nice.
That was great.
That was pretty far.
Don't go that fast. This is gonna be my best one.
Oh,
never mind.
almost. All right, so
was
now,
not my
all right, you
best
see
one.
how that line is a little loose there? So this is the perfect example of what it's like to get a little bit of a backlash. That's like the worst one.
That's just a
like
little.
yeah, a little, but this is good practice. So push down on that. And then,
just go.
yep, but always keep your thumb on the spool. Yep, keep it nice and tight and just keep pulling until it's nice and even. Does that make sense?
That's why my brother needs you. See, I will be great at like lining these up.
Oh yeah.
Those are so fun. All right.
All right, yeah, you're perfect. So, all right, this is another really good learning tip. So you see how like that line's kind of going on there loose, or like slack, you'd call it. So you really want it to be on there nice and tight. Otherwise, it's gonna make you get another bird's nest the next cast. So when you do get a bird's nest and you're pulling out a bunch of line, say like this much line you got out. So what you do is crank it.
Like unlock it?
Yep, unlock it. There you go. And then pinch it up here. So like sometimes I used to, when I was younger, I'd put it in between my legs kind of, and then make sure I'd pinch the line right in front of the reel. So typically I'd do it like this. I'll just show you real quick. So I gotta go like this, and then put my line, my fingers right in front, and then crank it nice and tight on there. And then it gets on there nice and tight. Does that make sense? There you go.
My question is, how is this still cold?
What's that?
How is this still cold? I was wearing this. Like
Is it a
an
cold
hour ago.
towel or something?
Yeah, you put it in ice, and then you just wear it around your neck.
Dang, that's awesome.
And I wear it like an hour ago. It's still cold. It feels good.
All right, want to keep going?
Yes.
Do you think you can go down another break, or should we maybe keep
Here,
it?
this last cast.
Yeah, we'll see how it does.
Oh, that one was kind of late.
And it's kind of, I think, a habit from the spin cast, where
I
you're
wanna catch a fish
lifting your thumb up like that. So always kind of keep that thumb down, so you're almost like just touching that line. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm gonna
Okay.
catch a fish with this now.
Heck yeah, dude.
Where's your rod?
That's it, man. You're holding it.
They left.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you have multiple.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
where's the one that you were using?
The big one? I put it back in my car. Yeah. I really wanted to teach you how to do this. Dang!
Oh, that one was like farthest. Swear, whenever it's on video, it does not do good.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you don't mind, this could help tons and tons of people. If you wanted me to, I could post this,
That was perfect.
because I got my GoPro running. But I don't know how you feel about being on the internet. You don't care?
Yeah, I don't care that much.
So like if you were on YouTube or whatever, you'd think it's cool?
No, yeah,
Awesome.
I like it.
Cool. Because honestly, dude, so many kids your age are so intimidated by using a baitcaster, just because either their parents don't fish and use one, or their parents even tried to use one but they couldn't.
Whoa!
You got one? Hey, you got one, buddy? Oh my gosh. Keep that rod tip up. Keep that rod tip up. Yeah, there you go. It's a pike.
Oh,
It's a pike. All right, don't reel it all the way up.
Big!
All right, push down on that button real quick.
Push down. It's off.
Yeah. Give us some slack line. Good job, dude.
I'm totally getting. Oh, it's purple. It has that. You don't want to hurt it yet.
No, I'm not trying to. He's just
My phone's on the grass. Can I let go of this for a sec?
yeah. So yeah, just set it down nice and gently so it doesn't scrape too hard. There you go.
Oh my god.
All right, I'll hold him,
That was perfect.
dude. And I got this GoPro running too, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna help so many people learn how to use a baitcaster. And you caught your? Is this your first northern?
Yeah.
No way.
Can you lift those like in the?
No, they got teeth. They got really sharp teeth. But you see how I'm holding them like underneath that gill there? So just
Can I
kind of,
try?
yeah. So what you're gonna have to do is you're just gonna want to slip your finger right underneath this gill plate, right there. All right, so bring your finger over here.
I feel like I'm not gonna do a tiny.
Oh, you'll be good, buddy. All right, but he's gonna have to get in the water soon. So put your finger up like this, up on that gill, and then pinch up at the top.
Ooh.
You think you can do it? No? If you want, here, I got the camera going so I can screenshot this video for you, and I'll send you pictures. All right?
Here, I'll just get a.
So smile. Awesome. All right, you want to get a couple pictures while I'm releasing them? All right, because he's got to get back in the water.
Yeah. And then just let him.
Yeah, when you're releasing them, what you do is...
Yeah. I didn't get to press the video.
That's all right. I got it all on here at least.
Yep.
Dude, give me some.
That was awesome.
You caught your first fish on a bait caster.
Yeah.
Dude.
That was awesome.
Dude.
And it was a big fish.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm like, I have something.
Dude.
At first I thought it was seaweed. And then I just see like the line actually moving. That's how you know
Oh my
you actually have a
gosh.
fish.
My dude.
That guy was big.
Dude.
Whew. And
Good job.
He
You
was kind
casted
of shallow.
Yeah, he was. And you casted that one far.
But also this gets deep when it only goes a little bit and then it gets deep.
Yeah. Dude, I cannot believe you did that, man.
Here,
Congratulations.
Let's do a break.
Oh yeah, you want to drop one of the brakes? Yeah. So now you're at 8.5? You want to do it at 8?
8.
All right, bet. Give that a try. Good job.
Oh,
What a beast.
that was good. And no backlash.
No backlash. Good job, dude.